KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
Yeah. An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow.
It's been an actual nightmare.
To oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez.
Dance with me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis. Now streaming on Freevee.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honors and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
Take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized.
And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the not Monday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, or the Tuesday show here. Yesterday was my one day off for the month, so I'll be back with you all this week and pretty much every other day for infinity until next month. Anyway, so we're here, we're live, and I have been playing catch up because I was running all kinds of errands all day yesterday, but there's so much to talk about that we're probably going to wind up going commercial free for a good part of the first hour, because in case you've missed it, I have Joe Biden's entire gun control speech. So before we get into that, though, I do want to give a bit of a monologue, because the most interesting thing about today is you have Joe Biden still calling for further gun control, when his calling for this kind of stuff is what just got his son convicted of crimes. So I would venture to say that at this point they're about to become a family at odds, because I guarantee you Hunter Biden's attorney is going to start trying to appeal things based on Second Amendment restrictions, etc. Now, the appeals court that is overseeing this case, or will be when they do file an appeal, has already rejected that on its face. So this will likely go to the Supreme Court. I'm just calling it now. I was kind of surprised to see the verdict come out as quickly as it did, if I'm being completely honest, because it just we have a multiple tier justice system in this country, and I honestly didn't think Hunter Biden was going to be found guilty, especially after Donald Trump was found guilty of some of the stupidest crap that I've ever seen. But I think they miscalculated, and this will probably end the monologue segment, because I want to get into the actual gun control speech that Biden gave today because it was a bit long, and I'm going to try to play the whole thing. But like I said, this could wind up, or I haven't said it yet, but one of the thoughts that occurred to me is this could be the beginning of the end of the Biden crime family, because now that he's been convicted, and this was the harder of the two cases that he currently has pending. As far as I know, I think it's only two, because he's got a tax one coming up too. That one's pretty easy. It's kind of, did you pay your taxes or did you not pay your taxes? So this was the harder of the two. This was the more Sisyphean project to get that boulder up the hill, if you know what I mean. And they managed to do it. Biden's defense was basically pushing for jury nullification, which is what a lot of leftists were hoping for. Now, I will admit, so far, I'm surprised there hasn't been much rioting or looting yet. I mean, maybe they just haven't orchestrated it well enough yet, and it'll happen over the next couple of days. Maybe they're in shock, because the other thing everybody was waiting on was for, as we get closer to debate time, for Biden to say, well, I refuse to debate a convicted felon, and Trump can just shoot back, well, I'm still willing to debate the father of a convicted felon. Anyway, sorry, too soon? Was it too soon? May have been a little too soon. I don't really care. All right, so without further ado, here is Biden actually coming up to the podium. I actually found the entire thing, and we're just going to run it. So let me make sure the folks watching along can see it too, because did I mention I took a day off yesterday, so I feel kind of rusty? It's not my fault, damn it. All right, and then we will go to full screen over here. I think we might be there already, though. No, not quite yet. All right, and then we go here. All right, so we're just going to let this run. It was actually still running when I started doing show prep, so I have no idea how long it actually is. If it gets too weird or anything, we'll just kill it. But I want you guys to hear this, because the fact that he still did this today, after, I mean, for those of you watching on the streams, you can see it. This is pulled straight from Fox News, and they have Hunter Biden's picture in the corner. Count 1 guilty, count 2 guilty, count 3 guilty. Senate's guidelines haven't been made very clear yet. I do know the judge has to do something within 120 calendar days, which could put it well outside of the election, which might have actually been on purpose if they don't set anything sooner. That's just my take. But here's our current president pushing for more gun control, which is what just got his son convicted. So that's an interesting take, in my opinion, especially since, in my opinion, that stupid question on that stupid form is unconstitutional. But I know all the conservatives are happy today because we got Biden with it. I'm like, I'm not. But anyway, we'll let them take their victory laps. We're going to keep doing what we do. So without further ado, here's POTUS.
Thank you.
And I do have to admit, when I heard this earlier, I wasn't sure if they were doing 4 more years or doing more beers.
Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Thank you.
It could be either one, I guess.
Please have a seat. Joe Vania, I know from experience it takes extraordinary courage for you to stand up here and retell your son's story. Many of you who have lost someone to gun violence. This has been a passion of mine for a long, long time. It's a reason way back, a long time ago, I authored the Violence Against Women Act, which no one thought made any sense at the time. I had a lot of trouble getting people to think we could make a difference. But the fact of the matter is, I remember well when you first started it with me, this extraordinary courage. You know, through your words, you help ensure that your son and all the victims of gun violence are not forgotten. They didn't die in vain. Through your love, you help prevent the next tragedy that saves lives. And through your actions, you remember us will never let go of one thing that we must never, never lose. And I mean this. I know it's hard, because I've gotten those phone calls too saying I lost a son, a daughter, a wife. I know what it's like. But guess what? Never give up on hope. Hope, hope, hope. I give you my word, I know what that feels, that black hole when you receive that phone call. It seems like your black hole in your chest, you're being sucked into it. just showing up here with all the work you've done takes some courage, because it reminds you of the moment you got that phone call. It reminds you, no matter how long it goes. It's hard, but you're making such a difference. The main reason I'm here to say, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. No. Folks, it's okay. Look, they care. Innocent children have been lost. They make a full point. Come on now.
Thank you for honoring gun violence survivors.
Folks, to every town and all the leaders and advocates here today, I want to thank you for the dedication to this vital issue you've shown. And to all the survivors, veterans, families, moms who've turned their pain and your purpose into the loss, and you're determined to not focus on your anger, but on what you can do. Look, folks, you've helped power a movement that is turning this cause into reality, especially young people who demanded our nation do better to protect us all, who protested, who organized, who voted, who ran for office, and yes, who marched for their lives. From my perspective, today is about celebrating you. You're the reason I'm so optimistic about the future of our country, and I mean that. In 2 weeks, we'll mark the 2nd anniversary of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. It's the most significant gun legislation in nearly 30 years. We passed it only because you went out and worked like hell to get it done. May have the idea, but you got it made. You made it happen. It was designed to reduce gun violence and save lives, and I'm so proud of the tremendous progress we made since then. You know, the year before I came to the presidency, the murder rate was the highest increase on record. Last year, we saw the largest decrease of murder in history of it. And those rates are continuing to fall faster than ever. Last year, we also saw one of the lowest rates of all violent crime in nearly 50 years. Murder, rape, aggravated assault, robbery all dropped sharply, along with burglary and property crime. This matters. So much of this progress is because, and I'm not just trying to be solicitous, it's because of you. Don't underestimate what you've done. It's amazing what you've done. You've changed people's minds, your neighbors, your friends, the folks down at the restaurant, the folks at the grocery store. Through the American Rescue Plan, I was able to invest $15 billion, the largest investment ever to reduce crime. And we built on that progress with your help, the through the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. And here's how. First, the Act's helping reduce community violence and domestic violence. It invests $250 million in violence intervention programs all across the country. People are now, my daughter's a social worker working with violence against women. What people don't realize is these things matter. They change attitudes. We've already funded nearly 80 programs and counting. We also make gun trafficking and straw purchasing a federal crime for the first time, giving prosecutors a legal tool to charge traffickers and hold them accountable for the more severe penalties that are available. Additionally, the law strengthens background checks for anyone under the age of 21 trying to purchase a firearm. And it's about time. There's more we have to do there. It's a big deal. Since the law was passed and implemented, the FBI stopped more than 700 sales of firearms for individuals under the age of 21. And about 20,000 unlicensed firearms dealers are now required to become licensed to run background checks, which will keep guns out of dangerous hands. Second, the Act helps stop mass shootings, provides $750 million to states to implement the crisis interventions, like red flag laws that temporarily remove firearms from those who are endangering themselves and others. It also gives $1.3 billion to thousands of schools across the country to build safer learning environments, including updating safety plans, installing security equipment, hiring mental health professionals and school resource officers. I'm married to a full-time teacher. I get it. As well as violent intervention teams. Folks, look. Third, the Act invests over $1 billion, the largest one-time investment ever in mental health, youth mental health in our schools. Help them deal with grief and trauma resulting in gun violence. I've attended too many mass shootings. I've gone to too many schools across America and stood there and looked at the faces of those young children who made it, and look at all the families that lost somebody. It's tragic, but it needs help. They need help to get through it. It includes an additional 14,000 mental health professionals to be hired and trained in our schools, to work in our schools full time. That's 14,000 more. And over 170,000 Americans across the country have been trained to identify when someone is having a mental health crisis, connect them to the help they need. By the way, one of the reasons I wrote the latest veterans bill was because more veterans and more active duty personnel are dying of suicide than any combat zone. It matters. And folks, this historic law is already saving lives. But there's still so much more to do to maximize the benefits of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That's why last September, I established the first ever White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I made it. We got first-rate professionals there and overseen by my incredible vice president. He's a pretty fierce prosecutor as well. To drive and coordinate government in a nationwide effort to reduce gun violence in America, that's why we did it, and to send a clear message about how important this issue is to me, to you, and to the entire country. Folks, you're changing the nation. You really are. You're changing the nation. It builds upon the dozen of executive actions my administration has taken to reduce gun violence, more than any of my predecessors, and I suspect more than all of them combined. Everything from cracking down on ghost guns, gun trafficking, so much more. Folks, we're not stopping there. It's time, once again, to do what I did when I was a senator. Ban assault weapons.
How about no? Need more beer. Need more beer. Oh, wait.
Needs a magazine which can hold 200 shells. Nobody.
First of all, it's a clip, not a magazine. Second of all, they don't hold shells. They hold rounds. And I'll buy as many damn rounds as I want, Joe Biden. The Second Amendment says I can.
The fishermen and the hunters. And I came across a guy who was fishing, and he said, "You want to take my gun?" And I looked at him, I said, "Yeah, I don't want to take your gun. You're allowed to have a gun, but I want to take away your ability to use an assault weapon." And it, well, no, this is how the conversation went.
An assault weapon with
He said, "What do you mean I need that gun?" I said, "Guess what? If you need 12 to 100 bullets in a gun, in a magazine, you're the lousiest shot I've ever heard of."
Well, guess what? The Second Amendment ain't about hunting, you couldn't go bastard.
And to his credit, he looked at me and said, "You have a good point." But think about it. They're weapons of war.
Exactly.
And by the way, it's time we establish universal
we should have the ability to overthrow your tyrannical ass anytime we feel like we need to. And some of us feel like we're getting kind of close.
And by the way, and require the safe storage of firearms. We should hold.
You want to figure out the safest way to store firearms?
Don't provide
How
those
to
locks
use them
on those
so they
guns.
know how they work and they know that they are
because
dangerous.
3 of
And
these
then you don't
major
have to worry
crime
about
scenes I
it.
visited
In the
were ones
70s and
where the
80s, there was
mother or father
a
left
gun
open,
in almost
left
every pickup
stuff out
truck
on the
in
desk,
school,
left it out on the
and
table,
none of this
and
ever
the kid
happened.
came and
I'm
used
just
it.
saying. All right, probably
And by the
go
way,
back to listening to this guy again.
This is most
Maybe.
important. The only industry in America that has immunity are gun dealers. We gotta end it.
What about pharma?
End it now.
Pharma has some pretty big immunities lately, Joe. You helped reinforce a lot of those. Maybe we should be talking about that too.
Imagine if we gave tobacco an exception that could not be prosecuted. What would happen? We'd still 1,000 more people would be dying of cancer because of smoke inhalation. It's time to increase funding for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives and other law enforcement agencies as well. To solve the crimes faster. Look, unfortunately, it's the only partisan thing I'm going to say. The congressional Republicans oppose all of these, every one of these. Instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost gun kits that contain these that commit crimes, they're working like hell to stop them. They want to abolish the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, which is responsible for fighting gun crimes. You can't be pro-law enforcement and say you are pro-law enforcement and be pro-abolishing the AFT. You can't do it.
I'm pro-law enforcement and pro-abolishing the
I disagree
ATF,
with
sir,
some of my own party
and
and on
the
the
FBI.
other side about a lot of
Because
things. But at least
national
there's
law enforcement is a
some
joke.
rational argument they have as part of
I
their
don't like
argument.
national education.
What in God's name is the rationale for taking away the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms? After a school shooting in Iowa that killed a student and a teacher, my predecessor was asked about it. You remember what he said? He said, have to get over it. Hell no, we don't have to get over it. We got to stop it. We gotta stop it and stop it now.
We've reached the yelly phase. I wonder where the stabby phase started.
More children are killed in America by guns than cancer and car accidents combined. My predecessor told the NRA convention recently, he's proud that, quote, I did nothing on guns when I was president. And by doing nothing, he made the situation considerably worse. That's why every town, why this summit, why all of you here today are so damn important. We need you. We need you to overcome the unrelenting opposition of the gun lobby, gun manufacturers, so many politicians when they oppose common sense gun legislation. I used to be when I was no longer the vice president, I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Before that, I taught a constitutional law class, and so I taught the Second Amendment. There's never been a time that says you can own anything you want.
Fact check on President Joe Biden.
Never. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War. No, I'm serious. Think about
so
it.
our
How many of you heard
firearms, the
this
leading
phrase?
cause of death for
The blood of
children.
liberty.
According to current information, the leading cause of death for children
Give me
up
a
to the age of 18, if infants are included, the ranking of the leading cause of death for children up to age 18 changed. Congenital abnormalities are the leading cause of death in infants and surpass the number of firearm deaths among all children
Guess what? They
up to
need
age 18.
F-15s. They don't need a
Just
rifle.
throwing that out there.
Folks, look, this is crazy what we're talking about. Because whether we're Democrats or Republicans, we want our families to be safe. We all want to drop them off at a house of worship, a mall, a movie theater, a school, without worrying it's the last time I'm going to get to see them. We all want. We all want our kids to have the freedom to learn how to read and write in schools instead of learn how to duck and cover, for God's sake.
2021 between the ages of 1 and 18 and 1 and 19, when gun-related incidents were in fact the leading cause of death for children and teens. However, that was 3 years ago.
Finished.
Just throwing that out there.
Look, no single action can solve the entirety of the gun violence epidemic, but together, our efforts, your efforts, are saving lives. You can help rally a nation with a sense of urgency and seriousness of purpose. You're changing the culture. And we've proven we can do more than just thoughts and prayers. Just more than thoughts and prayers. You're changing politics. You're proving that you're powerful and you're relentless, and I mean that. Let me close with this. I know many people here have been impacted by gun violence and are tired and frustrated. I know. I've been to too many. I've literally spoken with well
He
over
literally
1,000
almost said
families.
I've been
at
to
these
too many
events that
mass
I've
shootings.
attended, mass shootings.
Yes, I am.
And look in their eyes. You can almost feel that black hole they feel in the center of their chest, like they're being sucked in. There's no way out. If they have remaining children, you look at the children and they wonder, Mommy, Daddy, how about me? And I know you may wonder, are we ever going to make full progress that we need to make? I'm here to tell you, we have no choice. We cannot give up trying. For all the lives lost and all those who are still there to save, we're going to get there. I have no illusions about how difficult it may be, but I also have no illusions about the people in this room. You're changing the attitude of the public. I really mean, I'm going back to why I got here in the first place. That is to say thank you. I can come up with all these ideas about the laws we can change to make it easier. But you're changing people's lives. You're convincing your neighbors and people this is necessary. It's beginning to move. Look what we've already done around the community. Look at the movement you've built, the elected officials standing with you. Look at all the mothers' organizations across the country.
Mr. President, you are making a change too. I love you so much. And God
Look, when there's a crisis, half what people affected by a crisis have to know is anybody listening? Do you hear me? Do they hear what we're saying? Listen to the young people who are speaking out. That's the power of the memory of your loved ones. That's this movement. That's the power of America. We just have to keep going and keep the faith. Remember who we are. We are the United States of America, and there's nothing beyond our capacity when we act and do it together. So God bless you all, and may God protect your truth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Keep it up.
All right, so there's President Biden.
All right, so there you have the entirety of his gun control speech. And again, the weirdest thing about this happening today, it almost seems like it was God's little wink and nudge is, hey, while you're pushing for all this gun control, that really isn't going to amount to very much or change much of anything. We're going to show the entire country that you just helped get your own son convicted of a crime. Now, the scariest thing about all of this, and then we're going to take a short, really, really short break before we move on to the next segment. But the scariest thing about all of this is, and this comes from one of my co-hosts, Scott's Fire on Twitter, Stacey Lennox. I'm sorry, X, because I promised everybody once they changed the domain name, I would start calling it by its new name, but I don't think it's ever going to stick. I'm trying to keep my word, I promise. But she made a rather astute observation, and I just kind of want to touch on this, and I'll probably have her break it down a little bit better this week on when we do whatever, because I'm assuming this will still be a topic. Because it's going to be in all of the news for a while, I'm sure. But this is from her just about an hour ago. And if you're not following along with her on X, you should be. She's at Scott's Fire. If Biden had not chosen to run, neither Hunter nor Ashley would have left their deeply personal records where the public could find them. Anyone who doesn't see these as passive-aggressive moves to undermine a father they have serious issues with is willfully blind. Just throwing that out there, because this is something that I've said before. She just articulates it much better than I do. So I thought it best you hear it from her. But that's pretty much, pardon me. That's pretty much the truth of it, folks. Just to be completely honest, is they are. I mean, they're just seriously, they're delusional. I mean, that's really about the only way that I can put all of this is they're being completely delusional. Hang on, I'm trying to do something and it's not working. Hang on. Sorry, my computer's being silly. Bear with me for just a second. I think it's because I hit the wrong button, though. All right. Okay, so what I was saying a second ago is the entire family to me is delusional. And I think this may be the beginning of the end of the Biden family because this will put a rift between father and son. And there's already been a rift because Beau Biden was the favorite son. It's fairly obvious from everything that you see and from the fact that I believe it was the 2020 it was the 2020 convention when they created an AI program to represent Beau Biden, who spoke for more time than his live children combined. This was just another way for him to prove that that was the son that mattered most. Now, as a dad, I'm not going to say there aren't children that you may or may not get along with better, but I always try to treat my children as equally as possible. I mean, it's impossible to be completely impartial, but you should try. And the fact of the matter is, none of this would be happening right now, I firmly believe, if not for two things. One, this is a very deeply disturbed man who has done very bad things for most of his life that he led while he was in politics. And his children that are remaining are lashing out because of those very bad things that he's done. And I think this conviction, this one little conviction that will probably historically be remembered as the same vein as how they got Al Capone. I think this will be the beginning of the end and the unraveling of the Biden crime family and the Biden pay-for-play scheme. Now, I will say that as this begins to unravel, if Trump has in fact been doing the same thing, I would expect his family to be in as much trouble. I don't know if he has or not. Everybody on the left assumed he had, but that's because they knew their side was. If he had been doing it, I don't know. I mean, they're obviously doing a better job of hiding the money than the Bidens were, because dude was losing money the entire time he's been in the White House or was in the White House and has been losing money ever since because they've been coming after him with everything that he has. All right. While we're talking about everybody losing money, let me help you figure out a way to save money, especially if you like energy drinks as much as I do. So I just got something today. I'm just going to let you know that now. It just got here. I've tested it out today. So far, I absolutely love it. There is an energy drink group called Dubby, and it is awesome. So if you like energy drinks but hate the crash, I encourage you to check them out. You can go to their website at, I believe it's Dubby.com, but let me test that real quick because it's not actually on this screen. And I want to make sure it's either Dubby.com or Dubby.gg. I think it may actually be Dubby.gg. Because everybody's getting creative with their domain names now. Yep, that's the one. All right, so yeah, if you want to check it out, just go to Dubby.gg. They have all kinds of flavors you can choose from. For a limited time, you can actually get a discount if you do decide to sign up by giving them my coupon code, which happens to be Rowdy Rick. That's capital ROWDY, capital R, and then ICK. So feel free to check that out if you want. They do also have money back guarantees, etc. So if you don't like the product, I'm sure they can work something out with you. Like I said, I've only been using it for a day, to be honest, and to be fair. But I told everybody once I tried it, if I liked it, I would start talking about it. And so far, it has been amazing. It's lasted me most of the day. I've had, well, I'm not going to lie, today was a long day. So I'm on dose number 2 in about 8 hours. But I didn't get a crash the first time. And so far, I haven't gotten one the second time either. So if you like energy drinks and hate crashes, you're going to like Dubby. So again, just go to Dubby.gg, check out whatever flavors you would like there. And then you are welcome to check out, put in my coupon code for 10% off. They are also offering I think they're offering a summer special right now. So you might want to check to see if their coupon codes are stackable or not. I don't know because I didn't have the option to put that one in because they're one of my sponsors now. So I have to do things differently. But you guys might want to go check that out. Just saying. So the other thing is, so if you just want to check it out, you can actually get a shaker cup and a sample pack, which has 3 flavors for like $16.49. I would probably start there if you can. When I went to order, they were out of that one, but I think they may have restocked. The other thing is normally it's about $40 for a tub of their powder. It is powder that you mix with water or whatever you prefer to put it in, but it is already flavored. So I would probably just stick with water if it were me. But if you drink energy drinks as much as I do, or did until I changed over to this, because I think I'm going to stay with this for a while, I was spending about $20 a week in Monster. I had a terrible Monster habit. I had a terrible Monster habit and a terrible coffee habit, to the point where people were yelling at me like, "You're going to give yourself a stroke." I'm like, dude, I work 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, and 8-hour days on the 7th. So I kind of need it. So far, this is working much better. And it's only about $40 for about a month's worth of supply. So you're talking about a little over $1 a dose if you only drink one a month or one a day. If you're like me and you drink 2 a day sometimes, it may only last you about 20 days or so. But it's still going to be a hell of a lot cheaper. Just saying. Anyway. All right. So, and like I said, for me, it's not even necessarily the fact that it works so well. It's the fact that it works so well and it did not crash for me. But let me check something. Hey, it does work. So it is not sold out. So yeah, if you want to do the starter sample pack, you can do that for $16.49. You do still get 10% off if you put in my promo code. So you can get it for a little less than, what would that be, about 15? So, I mean, the more you order, the more you're going to save, just to be honest. But if you want to, if you're not sure if you don't want to spend a lot of money to start, you can basically get 3 different flavors of their energy stuff and a shaker to go with it. The shaker itself, when I ordered one, was like $16, so that's almost worth it by itself. All right, anyway, done talking about that. What was supposed to be a short break turned into a much, much longer break. Anyway, so back to the content. Let's see where we want to go next. Let me do this because I just realized the streaming crowd has been like, dude, we've been on a pause screen for 10 minutes. What are you doing? So here's some reactions to some of this that we're going to start going over. So hang on just a second while I get that queued up for the folks watching along. Oh, well, I didn't expect it to do that. All right, so we'll just move over here. So I had it on X. I put it on. I tried to full screen it, and then it moved it to Rumble, which I guess I can't complain much because we're on Rumble too. So I should probably start using them for stuff more often. Just saying. All right. So this is Chuck Todd. And this will be me live reacting to whatever the hell it is Chuck Todd is about to say, but he doesn't seem very happy. So let's give this a listen. Listen for some, watch for others.
This brilliant device keeps your home cool in summer, even during heat waves and power outages. It's smaller than a lunchbox.
All right, here we go.
Weight problems? Try this simple coffee hack starting tomorrow morning. You may not know this, but the
the location of this guilty verdict, I think, mattered. As somebody pointed out earlier, with the First Lady of the United States, that's putting certainly perhaps some people would have thought that's trying to put a finger on the scale in a place like Delaware, and that didn't matter. So I do think we should step back and realize that our system is different. There is a fairness to it where we really do aspire that nobody is above the law. I think it's possible that there is a contrast here that the public may see between how Trump and his partisans handle the rule of law versus how Biden and his partisans handle the rule of law. And then I'll be honest, I personally am this is one of those cases where I don't think it's brought if Biden's not president of the United States. This is one of those things. If Biden had chosen not to run in 2018, I doubt Hunter Biden's ever prosecuted for something like this. In some ways, we may look back on this and say he was held more accountable because of who he is, not less accountable because of who he is.
So the interesting thing about that statement for me is while Chuck Todd is making noise about how the left and the right are going to handle these things so much differently, and everybody's going to see the distinction between the Trump partisans and the Biden partisans, and he comes out of the gate day one. This probably wouldn't have happened if Biden hadn't tried to run for president. For somebody who says things are going to be so much different from one side to the other, you're starting off with the very same argument. And I'm not necessarily disagreeing with that argument. But this is the problem that we have in this country now. And I've said this before. In this country, we now have basically this red line that we have passed. And one side has passed it a hell of a lot further than the other. And now the other side has to determine whether they're going to be willing to cross it or not as well. And the scary thing about not crossing it is that means the right continues to play by the Marquis of Queensberry rules and tries to treat everything like it's a fair boxing match. And there's all these rules and all these things when the left is coming in with glass and bricks in their gloves, a chalk that they can throw in the eyes, a referee on the take. I mean, there's just so many different things that have been happening now for a long time. And the right just keeps refusing to engage. And I really don't understand that, especially not anymore. Because look, I've said this before. If you go look at the data, and if you want to, you can go back and listen to past shows where I have broken down the 6 or 7 different places where there were very large anomalies in 2020 that changed the entire trajectory of the election while we were all sleeping. Now, you can tell me that wasn't cheating. You can say whatever you want to say about just the left figuring out how to play by the COVID rules better than the right, etc. It doesn't really matter because this all comes back to the same thing. And I've been saying it since then. We do not have national elections. We have regional elections with national consequences, which means they have figured out how to put the thumbs on scales in certain cities, in certain swing states, in bigger districts to where it wasn't as noticeable until 2020. And it's been happening for a while. There's a reason why Democrats have been in charge historically more often than Republicans, because Republicans have always tried to play by the rules, so to speak. And I had to throw the so to speak in there because there are times that we don't play by the rules either. And by we, I mean they, because I'm not even a Republican anymore, so I'm not even sure why I keep saying that. Just habit, I guess. But again, here we sit. And is there rioting yet? No, but you've already got the talking heads starting to beat the same drums that they were yelling about Fox News and everybody else on the right beating when Donald Trump started getting put on all these charges and all these and started having charges brought and everything else. This wouldn't be happening if he wasn't running for president. Oh, you don't know that? No, we pretty much did know that. A lot of us suspected it. I still don't really believe that, and I've said it publicly. I think they would have come after him anyway, especially after I saw that Hillary Clinton's been spending an awful lot of time in the White House because she has a vendetta against Donald J. Trump. She stole the White House from him. This woman was so convinced she was going to be president that her birthday before the election, she put out a tweet with her picture as a child saying, "Please wish this future president happy birthday." That left egg all over her face, and people resurrect that tweet every one of her birthdays since. And this is not a woman that takes to being embarrassed. This is not a woman who takes to having egg on her face. This is why she's been so vindictive with Bill. She's part of the reason why the term Arkansas exists. And I said what I said. These are the things that nobody took into account when Donald Trump thumbed his nose at everybody and decided he was going to go ahead and try to win this thing in 2016 because he wasn't supposed to. So he already had a mark on him. And that's why they've come after him as hard as they have from the moment they figured out he was in it to win it. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. Hopefully, last time coming soon, because I probably will bring it up a few more times before the election. Hopefully, one way or the other, this is the last time we have to talk about these two, at least in this regard. But he wasn't supposed to win. There's no other explanation for Bill Clinton himself picking up the phone and asking Donald Trump to run against his wife, unless there was some sort of a fix that was in. And I think this goes back to the insurance policy that Strzok and Page were talking about way, way, way back in the day. Don't worry about it. Even if he does win, we have the insurance policy. And this is why they did everything they could to discredit him from day one. This is why, even though nobody wants to admit it, Hillary Clinton did concede the election for 2.5 seconds. And then she started calling it rigged and stolen and everything else. That's the only difference between the two. Trump never conceded, but that's because Trump knew something was wrong. Anybody with a set of eyeballs in 2020 knew something was wrong. When they start pulling up trucks and trucks of ballots at 3 a.m., something is wrong. When they start showing you all of these ballots that are top of ballot only, no down ticket voting at all, just voting for president, something is wrong. Something is broken. But we can't talk about that because the second we do, we're called conspiracy theorists. And you're calling into question elections. But you know the scariest thing about this, though, and this is where I was going with this, even though it took me a minute to get here. The scariest thing is they want us to call the elections into question. It's why they keep doing all these things. It's not only for the hopes that they can get away with them. It's for when they finally can't get away with them and they can start calling for national election reform. Because you know what they're trying to do, folks? And I've even heard people doing the same thing as me, saying that at this point they're ready for that. Ready for what I'm about to say. They want elections that are nationally controlled. So that you can basically walk in, dip your thumb on a purple pad, and put your thumbprint on your choices and turn it in. I heard Glenn Beck not too long ago say that he was ready for that if it made things easier, and it will not. The problem with things like national level elections is they start being a lot easier to control. You know, the scariest thing is we are one of the only Western countries that still uses mail-in voting, because they have, in fact, everywhere that it's been used, found rampant cheating. This is why they're rioting I don't know if they still are, but they were rioting in the European Union today or yesterday, because there has been a populist landslide all across Europe, and all the leftists are having a cow because they thought the fixes were in everywhere. Except, and this is something that we've been warning people about for a long time, they have overplayed their hand. It really is that simple. They went too far, too fast with COVID, and they woke more people up than they needed to. If they hadn't pushed quite as hard as they did, then we wouldn't have known. And I hate to be a 4D chess kind of guy, but Donald Trump has a knack for shining spotlights where people don't want spotlights. And I kind of think maybe, just maybe, that's why he went along with some of the stuff that he did, was because he knew eventually it would start making people tip their hands. Now, the only reason that I can almost disprove my own conspiracy theory is if that was the case, I don't think he would still be taking a victory lap over the vaccines, which I haven't actually heard him do in a while, but he was for a very long time still. And those things are bad. I mean, one of the easiest hang on, I'm trying to figure out how to word it. One of the easiest conspiracy theories to prove is that those vaccines didn't even come from Big Pharma. They came from the military, and they just slapped labels on it to make everybody comfortable. Because there's no other way they could have rolled them out that quickly otherwise. There's just not. And sorry, it just still to this day makes me wonder what the hell it was they were trying to get away with. I'm just saying. You can think I'm crazy. That's fine. You can even turn off the show. That's fine too. I'm still going to tell you what I think. Because that's what I'm supposed to do. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You don't have to listen. Or you can email me at anytime. RadioFreeRick@gmail.com is the one I use all the time, because that way, no matter where I'm at, I can get to it. And tell me whatever you want. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I'm nuts. Tell me you agree with me. Tell me you disagree with me. I don't really care. This is all nuts. We are watching our country fall apart and arguing over it, while we have a president pushing to remove our ability to defend against tyranny. This is how we need to start framing the argument when it comes to the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is not about your right to hunt. It's not even about your ability to hunt. The Second Amendment is specifically designed and intended to give us the ability to fight tyranny whenever it may show up again. And we're getting pretty close. I don't like saying it any more than you like hearing it, but we're getting pretty close. And that's just the truth of it. So when you hear a president or a Congress critter or even Aunt Becky talking about, well, you don't need that rifle to hunt. You're right, but that's not what the Second Amendment is about, Aunt Becky. It's about me being able to overthrow the government if I need to. That's not a popular thing to say, but it's the truth. And that's how we need to start framing this argument. When you have a leftist talk to you about how you don't need big clips and you don't need this and you don't need that, the Constitution disagrees. Do you realize that during the Revolutionary War, most of the cannons that were used were owned privately? Nobody talks about that. They tell you that if we're going to be strictly adherent to the Second Amendment, then the only thing you should be able to own is a cannon and a musket. Okay, well, what about the ships that had the cannons? Because a lot of those were privately held too. Nobody really wants to talk about the fact that there were already repeating rifles during the Revolutionary War. They weren't common yet, but they existed. But sure, let's just pretend everything's fine. Let's pretend everything's okay when we have a president that we know has been selling access to his name. When we have the son of a president who we know has facilitated the selling of the access to his father's name, who has also now been convicted of a felony because of the very same gun control laws that his father has been lobbying for over 40 years. Now, if that's not some very delicious irony as we get ready to go to top of the hour, then you and I have differences in opinion as to what it means when we say delicious irony. I'm just throwing that out there. But on that note, we have reached the point where we do need to take the top of the hour break because we're coming back with hour 2 on the other side. I'm Rick Robinson. This is my show. You can find me here most of the time every Monday through Friday between the hours of 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me usually pushing buttons or co-hosting with other folks in the evening time. Tonight will be the Cocktail Lounge with Brad and Aggie starting at Aggie time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys come back for that. Tomorrow's our full lineup. So there'll be me from 3 to 5. The Whatever Show with myself and Stacy will be at 7 p.m. Eastern because I do take a little bit of a break. Then we come back at 8 p.m. Eastern with the concert. Well, actually, I take that back. He's off. So I'm going to have to figure out what I'm doing with that hour. I forgot he declared a hiatus for summer. So he'll be back in a few weeks. He's going to pop in when he can. But I guess I'll be picking up some slack. Then after that, we have Talk Murder to Me, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then we should have a nightcap with myself and Ordy doing the Rick and Ordy Show, 10 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, same thing here, 3 to 5. Then 10 p.m. Eastern will be the Jen and Rick Show. Now, starting next Thursday, because it'll be every other Thursday, John Katz and I are starting a podcast about mental health basically mental health in America. And specifically at times men's mental health, because we don't really feel like there's an outlet for that. So that will be starting in 2 weeks, and that will take up the 9 p.m. Eastern slot. So I'll be back to back every other Thursday. I know y'all are like, get some other people. I'm trying. They only want to do co-hosted shows, though. Normally, I try to bring them in slow, give them what they want, and then see if they want to take off on their own. Usually it winds up I've bitten off more than I can chew and try to make it work anyway. Then Friday, same thing here. Last show of the week for the Rick Robinson Show. Then He Said, She Said will be 8:30 p.m. Eastern, otherwise known as Aggie time. And that is myself and Aggie Regan. I have been and will continue to fill in for Mickey Blowtorch until he is ready to make a triumphant return to the airwaves. He just recently got married, and he's been on extended hiatus for other reasons. So I've been filling in to make sure that one keeps going in his absence. And then not sure we're going to carry it here yet, but we do have a special event that'll be happening on X after that show, and I'll give out some more information about that later because we got to take the break now. I just realized we're really, really long for the top of the hour break. See, this just proves I do too much. When it takes me that long to tell everybody everything I do, and I'm not even halfway done yet, this means I do too much. All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to The Rick Robinson Show, live right here on KLRNradio.com. We are America's podcast network. Stay tuned.
You don't know the half of the abuse. So welcome to the room of people who have rooms of people that they love one day docked away. Just because we check the guns at the door doesn't mean our brains will change from hand grenades. You love another psychopath sitting next to you. You love another murderer sitting next to you. You think I'd get here sitting next to you. But after all I've said, please don't forget. All my friends are heathens, take it slow. Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sudden moves. You don't know the half of the abuse. We don't deal with outsiders very well.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis.
And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors. We're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez. Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honors and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
This is God's country. We turn the dirt and work until the week's done. We take a break and break bread on Sunday, then do it all again, 'cause we're proud to be from God's country. I saw the light in a sunrise, sitting back in a 40 on the muddy riverside, getting baptized in holy water and shine with the dogs running.
And welcome back in for hour 2 of the Tuesday edition of the Rick Robinson Show, otherwise known as the Not Monday edition. So for those of you who are working for the weekend, you're one day closer. You survived Monday. If you are working for the weekend and you do the whole 8 to 5, 9 to 5 gig, if you're on the East Coast, you got a little less than an hour till it's go home time. So hang in there, white knuckle it. You're almost there. If you're in God's time zone, otherwise known as God's country, where I am, you got a little less than 2 hours. If you're on the West Coast, why the hell haven't you moved yet? And if you're in Mountain, nobody cares. Anyway, so we're back. We're live, and we're gonna hit Twitchy for a little bit of fun. This is from the boss lady over there, Sam Janey, otherwise known as Sam J or Politabunny. The good, the bad, and the exceptionally stupid. Here are the quote unquote best reactions to the Hunter Biden verdict. You all knew that Twitter would be a hotbed of horrible after Hunter Biden was found guilty of all 3 charges and is now a convicted criminal. You also likely knew we'd be putting together a best worst. And oh my God, how damn dumb can these people be? Article of reactions. And yes, we are somewhat predictable, although not as predictable as MSNBC. This one is from townhall.com. MSNBC notes that the president has said that he loves his son, that he and the first lady love their son, and that they're proud of him and the person he's become. Joe loves his son so much, you guys. Just saying. This is from Chris D. Jackson. Ridiculous is all I can say. The truth is, the only reason Hunter Biden was ever charged here was because he was the president's son. Even Lindsey Graham said as much. And Department of Justice officials, though thought it would provide them cover for charging Donald Trump. It's sad. Womp womp. Do I have a sad? I think I have a sad trombone somewhere over here. Is it this one? Nope, that's record scratch. You know what? Just for fun, let me try something. I knew I had that one. I just got to figure out the new board. I'd have a lot of fun with that one, I'm afraid. So this is from Really America. Now that the authorities have gotten to the bottom of the heinous crime of Hunter Biden lying about his drug abuse when he filled out a gun form, isn't it time to focus on why Jared and Ivanka Trump walked away from the White House with billions of dollars? Isn't it? Isn't it time? Isn't it? No, it's not. I'm just saying. This is from Ellie. Looks like Ellie Mistal. I want to take a short break from the jokes just to express my sympathy for Joe Biden. He's had so many family tragedies. His son has battled addiction. He's now watching him be prosecuted because of his political career. It's a really sad day for his family. Hunter is a dad, dude. This is Sam, by the way. Sorry, not sorry. And I kind of feel like that deserves this one again. Breaking. Oh, this is Brooklyn Dad. Oh, lovely. Breaking. Hunter Biden has just been found guilty on all 3 counts against him. Well, MAGA, how will you spin your narrative of a rigged justice system now? We know Brooklyn Dad is paid to post. We also know he's likely pushing whatever predisposed narrative the Democrats want out there. They think this proves Trump's court case wasn't a hot mess of corruption. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely adorable. And I did do a little bit of editorial with that one. Watch immediately after a jury in Delaware finds Hunter Biden guilty on all counts In his gun case, CNN starts speculating that President Joe Biden may commute Hunter's sentence. So this is actually something that I wanted to get into, and is part of the reason why I opened this hour with this article. Because if you've noticed, the only thing they keep asking him is, will you pardon your son? They keep forgetting that there's an entirely different option on the table. The sentence can be commuted, which would leave the charges behind, of course. They would still stick, but it would mean that he would face no jail time. I think this is probably where it's going to go. Because one of two things is going to happen. I don't think they wait until after the election to sentence him unless there are some drastic changes with the tea leaves. I still think they will. I still think they will set the sentencing probably just before the election to give Joe the chance to commute his son's sentence right before he has to leave the White House. Because there is no way, unless there's all kinds of chicanery that I don't think the American people are going to stand for this time, that this man wins again. There's just none. There's none. I mean, there's none. I mean, the other thing that I haven't really touched on much yet, I mean, I've teased it a little bit, but I haven't really touched on it much yet, is we are a nation founded by outlaws. So we have an inherent love of people that break the rules for the right reasons. And a lot of people know that Donald Trump has been put through the ringer since 2015. So the fact that they're coming after him as hard as they are, and he keeps taking the hits and taking the hits and taking the hits. I mean, I couldn't find a clean way to put it together, but I wanted to do like a montage of Joe coming after Trump and then mixing in the scene from Rocky IV where Apollo's like, oh my God, he's getting killed. And then his brother-in-law is like, he ain't getting killed, he's getting mad. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel like the last few rounds of this whole thing between Biden and Trump have gone, because everything they have tried to hit him with, he just keeps recovering from. And he comes back even stronger. And it doesn't even really make that much sense, except for the fact that the people can see how broken everything is in regards to this case. The thing that is very interesting to me about the two cases is one is very plain and cut and dry. He lied on an application to get a gun. That question wouldn't even be there if not for left-leaning policy pushers wanting that question on there. It wouldn't have even been anything that ever came up. The thing about this is, though, this is a very clear, cut and dried case. The Trump case wasn't. The Trump case took all kinds of mental gymnastics. The Trump case took the revivification of multiple misdemeanors that were dead and gone, basically bootstrapped onto a still as of yet unknown felony to make them companion felonies. And he's been convicted on all of those and still doesn't even know what the underlying crime was that made them all felonies that allowed them to be extended in the first place. So the fact that they keep trying to draw a comparison between these two things is asinine. The fact that the media keeps only asking him, do you plan on pardoning your son? And when he says no, what about a commutation? But we know why they're not asking that. CNN sent out an email telling on-air people how to act. CNN's Paula Reed announces Hunter Biden being found guilty on 3 felony counts, like she is speaking at a funeral service, because it's very somber, you know. MSNBC. Hunter Biden verdict shows Joe Biden is the living embodiment of the rule of law. Sure, buddy. Aaron Rupert, prayers up for all of Hunter Biden's victims. There are none, but still. And who is the victim in the Trump case? A porn star? Anyway. Hunter Biden will never win re-election now. Hunter Biden's conviction doesn't make me want to send Joe Biden more money. It doesn't make me want to attack the justice system, call out our government, call our government a banana republic, share private information about the jurors online, tweet about how he's really doing this for me, or throw a temper tantrum. Oof. That's all I got for that one. Hunter Biden, You mean the famous artist? That was David Berge. Breaking. This is from 3-Year Letterman. The jury has returned a verdict of guilty against Joel Biden's grandson Hunter for exercising his Second Amendment rights. While this verdict is invalid because he has diplomatic immunity as a sitting president's son, this is a big blow for the country because I hate Showmore. I really do. This is a big blow for the country because he was next in line of succession if something happened to the president. Please pray for the courts and that they will do the right thing, as Biden doesn't have pardon power for family members. Now, he's trying to be funny. I do actually consider this verdict unconstitutional because I don't think that question should have been on the form in the first place. I know that's not a popular stance for a conservative because, reasons, but it's the truth. I don't think the question should have been on the form in the first place. I know, again, that's not popular, but, it's just the truth. All right, so let's see where we're going next. Hang on. So this happened. So, of course, he had the event that we played in its entirety earlier, but shortly after that, Karine Jean-Pierre, otherwise known as Karine Jean-Air or Sideshow Bob, depending on which nickname you think fits her best, has canceled today's press briefing, and Biden bolted to Delaware after Hunter conviction. This is from Katie Pavlich at Town Hall. White House press secretary Sideshow Bob canceled it, and she didn't say that, I did. I guess I should clarify that. Canceled a scheduled briefing with reporters Tuesday after President Joe Biden abruptly changed his schedule for travel to Delaware. Biden is headed back home for a family meeting, dun, 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 in the aftermath of Hunter Biden's felony convictions, which were handed down by a jury earlier in the day. The president will depart the Washington Hilton en route to Joint Base Andrews. The departure from the Washington Hilton and the arrival to Joint Base Andrews will be covered by the in-town travel pool. The official White House schedule states then President Biden will depart Joint Base Andrews en route to Wilmington, Delaware. The departure from Joint Base Andrews will be covered by the in-town travel pool, and the arrival at Delaware Air National Guard Base will be covered by the out-of-town pool. Dun, dun, dun. Biden was at the Washington Hilton giving a speech about gun control just hours after his son was convicted of lying on a firearm background check form, illegally purchasing a firearm, and illegally possessing a firearm. The gun was then tossed into a dumpster near an elementary school by his brother's widow, who he was boinking, by the way, Hallie Biden. Well, actually, I guess they put that in after, so I didn't really need to editorialize it, but I like the word boinking better. Anyway, earlier in the day, Biden reacted to Hunter's conviction in a written statement. He has not publicly addressed the situation as another trial for his son, this time on federal tax charges, looms in September. As I said last week, I am president, but I am also a dad. Jill and I love our son, and we are so proud of the man he is today. So many families who have had loved ones battle addiction understand the feeling of pride seeing someone you love come out the other side and to be so strong and resilient in recovery. As I also said last week, I will accept the outcome of this case and will continue to respect the judicial process as Hunter considers an appeal. Jill and I will always be there for Hunter and the rest of our family with our love and support. Nothing will ever change that, as long as the big guy still gets his 10%. I'm just saying. I have a feeling Joe Biden is going to be taking Hunter Biden to the train station. If you haven't watched Yellowstone, or you don't spend any time online, you have no idea what I just said, but you can go figure it out. I'm just saying. I have a feeling that's what the family meeting's about. That boy needs to go to the train station. Anyway. So many stories, so little time. Yeah, we'll probably save that one for after the break because I don't want to get off of this story yet. So this is again from Town Hall. Madeline Leesman. Donald Trump Jr. reacts to Hunter Biden guilty verdict. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was found guilty in federal court with 3 felony counts tied to possession of a gun while using narcotics. As Town Hall covered, the verdict was announced on Tuesday after just a few hours of deliberations. Jurors had to decide whether Hunter was guilty of making a false statement during a background check to deceive a federally licensed firearm dealer. Hang on. In Wilmington, making a false statement on a form that the seller kept as the firearm transaction record and illegally possessing the firearm he purchased. As Spencer noted, the charges could carry sentences of up to 25 years in prison, in addition to $750,000 in fines and 9 years of supervised release. Dude, that's some, the scary thing about this is the reason these penalties are as bad as they are, he can blame his dad for that. On X, Donald Trump Jr. wrote that he agreed that Hunter Biden being convicted of a firearms charge is the ultimate red herring of red herrings. The DOJ allowed the statute of limitations to expire on the most serious tax charges, buried evidence of the Biden's foreign bribery allegations, and attempted to give Hunter a sweetheart deal with broad immunity. A post from Greg Price and shared by Trump read, David Weiss would go after him on serious tax charges, David Weiss wouldn't go after him on serious tax charges or on FARA because all of that would lead back to the shady business dealings involving his father. The post continued, instead, they went after him for a much lesser charge where the evidence was way too insurmountable to ignore, so they can scream, nobody's above the law, when they put President Trump in jail. In a follow-up, Trump shared a statement from his father's campaign. This trial has been nothing more than a distraction from the real crimes of the Biden crime family, which has raked in tens of millions of dollars from China, Russia, and Ukraine. The statement continues to read, crooked Joe Biden's reign over the Biden crime family and the crime empire is all coming to an end on November 5th, and never again will a Biden sell government access for personal profit. There was a fake one, well, I assume it's a fake one, going around that was much more interesting in my opinion. Trump called the rule, according to a fake press release that was put out, he called the ruling unconstitutional and vowed to pardon Hunter Biden when he was back in office because the conviction was unconstitutional. I thought that was kind of funny. I was actually kind of hoping it was true because that would have been like the best troll ever. Anyway, I have it on good authority that it was not true though. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take the bottom of the hour break just a little bit early because reasons. But you're listening to the Rick Robinson Show live right here on KLRNradio.com. We've got one more segment coming at you on the other side of the break. So make sure you guys hang out for the end of the show and make sure you're back tonight for all the goodness. Also, should probably do this. A client of mine, you may recognize the name, Michael Loftus, will be on Gutfeld tonight on Fox News. Make sure you tune in for that. I'm going to try to have his cast dropped around that same time too. If not, it'll drop in the overnight to give you late night folks a chance to check some stuff out. But you are listening to the Rick Robinson Show live right here on KLRNradio.com. We'll be right back.
She dances on black sand at night.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign. KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
Celebrity designer Jeff Lewis is back with Hollywood House Lift.
I'm excited to be working with new clients.
I'm not getting rid of that.
I hope I never see you both again.
An all-new season.
Those have to go. That has to go.
From oh, wow,
It's been an actual nightmare.
to oh, wow.
This is such an upgrade.
With celebrities like Josh Duhamel, Christina Ricci, and Gina Rodriguez. Dazzle me, Jeff.
It looks like Chuck E. Cheese.
Stream an all-new season of Hollywood House Lift with Jeff Lewis, now streaming on Freevee.
I am Conor McGregor, multiple weight MMA champion. I'm a fighter and I've been through many battles in the octagon. Many consider my fights in the octagon heroic, but the real life heroes are those men and women who fight to protect us every day. The real life fighters, the real life heroes are the firefighters and police officers. These first responders are true heroes because these brave men and women put themselves in the line of danger every single day protecting us all. The Tunnel to Towers Foundation ensures that first responders from fire, EMS and police departments who are killed in the line of duty with young children have a home without the burden of a mortgage. They are my heroes. They need our help today. I'd like to ask you to join me in donating $11 a month to support their efforts. Your $11 a month honors and supports our first responders. Please call now at 1-844-BRAVEST or visit tunneltotowers.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
I want to know, have you ever seen rain coming down the state? Yesterday and days before, sun is cold and rain is hot. I know. Been that way for all my time. You're forever on the go. Through the circle, fast and slow. I know it can't stop.
All right, folks, welcome back into the final segment of the Tuesday edition of the Rick Robinson Show. And this is just a snippet of what you miss if you're not hanging out in our chat room. So they started talking about Groot, and somehow the subject came up of would Groot, who's a hooker, be a grooker? And I'm like, no, because Groot would make a great gigolo because he's always got wood. Just saying. All right. Anyway, so yeah, that's the entertainment you're missing out on when you're not hanging out in our chat room at klrradio.com/chat. Anyway, so we're back. We're live. I think we've just about talked this whole thing to death. So there's one other thing that I kind of really feel like we need to talk about. Well, two, if I have time. First one, just kind of a gut reaction, because I know this happened over the weekend. It's been talked to death. But I'm really, really glad that Israel finally did what it needed to do to bring some of the hostages home. I've been saying this since October the 8th. As soon as we had confirmed that there were American hostages, we should have leveled Gaza. We shouldn't have even been waiting for Israel. We should have just, okay. It's not about Israel anymore. You screwed with us. Now you have to deal with us, and you're not going to like what happens. And just turn the entire place into a parking lot. I know nobody likes that, but Rick, you can't do that because you have to understand there are rules to these kind of things. Look, these people attacked and kidnapped Israeli and American citizens. These were not prisoners of war, which is what all the Palestinian hand-wringers, well, we don't understand why you're doing this because wouldn't these technically be prisoners of war? No, because they were not enemy combatants. These were everyday average Americans and everyday average Israelis going about their lives, enjoying their day until Hamas decided it wanted to play the FAFO game. And unfortunately, they continue to FA and they continue to FO. And they're lucky that it was Biden who was in office and not Trump. Because Gaza probably wouldn't exist right now if Trump was in office. But let's just be completely honest. If Trump was in office, Hamas wouldn't have done this. The person who's responsible for this is not Netanyahu. The people who are ultimately responsible for this are Hamas leadership and Joe Biden, because Joe Biden has had a policy of appeasement from the moment that he took office, because he has been convinced that if he befriends these people, he can make them understand that we actually just want to get along. I hate to point this out, and I know everybody, this is going to be probably the cringiest thing I say today, so get ready for it. How'd that work out for Rodney King? I mean, come on. Martin Lawrence was making a "can't we all get along" joke for how many years after that? How did that work out? You cannot appease these people. You cannot show these people weakness. I have said this over and over and over again. And this is coming from somebody who's had 2 semesters of psychology. So I know these people know this better than I do, and they're still trying to do it anyway. These people do not view life the same way that you and I view life. We are looking at life through the prism of being part of a westernized culture that values life above all else. These people value death above all else, especially a death in service to Allah, because that is how to them they are guaranteed paradise and they are guaranteed 72 virgins. So when we keep showing them we just want to get along, we just want things to be okay, all we're doing is showing them a target of opportunity. This is what I keep trying to tell everybody. This is why things work so well under Reagan to a point. This is why things work so well to a point after George Bush II, George W. Bush, not George Herbert Walker Bush, but Bush 43, because they were used to how things were with the guy before. So they tried something stupid. They wound up paying for it. Then we got the next guy in office who for 8 years basically might as well have been Taliban himself. I know that's not a nice thing to say either, and everybody gets mad at me when I say it, but when you're siding with the goat humpers more than you're siding with the people who elected you, I have a problem. The same thing is happening now. This president is siding with the goat humpers more often than he's siding with the American people. He is siding with the goat humpers because he's trying to keep a lock on Michigan, but he's about to let the other 49 states go in the process. So is it really going to matter that he manages to possibly hang on to Michigan by appeasing these people? You heard him do it earlier today. We played it on this show when a heckler made it into the room and started screaming about genocide. Well, no. They have a valid point. No, they do not have a valid point. Hamas picked this fight. Israel did not. Hamas has picked this fight over and over and over again. The Gazans have picked this fight over and over and over again. These people have been disgraced by their ancestors. They are doing everything they can to regain favor with the countries they came from, who don't want them back because their ancestors were failures. There's no other way to explain this to you. Now, the other thing about this that I don't know if too many people have talked about yet is one of the people who was holding hostages worked for Al Jazeera TV. So this is from Town Hall. Spencer Brown, the outlet employing journalists holding Israeli hostages in Gaza, is tax exempt in the U.S. We need to fix that right now. So the guy who is always screaming that everybody needs to pay their fair share is letting a terror-sponsored news organization be tax exempt in this country. On Saturday, Israeli forces launched a heroic broad daylight raid on Nir Esset in central Gaza, successfully rescuing 4 hostages from Hamas terrorist captivity after 8 months. Video from the daring operation shows the Israeli forces and hostages under heavy gunfire from terrorists and members of the IDF and Israeli police force returning fire, killing multiple terrorists. One of the Hamas barbarians who got taken out, Abdallah Al-Jamal, is a journalist. I'm going to say that again slower. He was a journalist who was holding 3 of the hostages. 3 of the 4 were being held by a journalist that were rescued on Saturday by Israel. 21-year-old Ahmad Mir, 27-year-old Andrei Kozlov, and 40-year-old Shalomi Ziv in his family's home in Nuseirat. The journalist had a bio on Al Jazeera and wrote for the Palestine Chronicle when he wasn't, of course, doing terrorism And while it's unsurprising that a terrorist would be known or be a known Al Jazeera entity, the latter outlet is raising eyebrows and questions here in the U.S. So, journalist, and this is from the Israeli Defense Force, journalist, quote unquote, Abdallah Ajmal was a Hamas terrorist holding Almog, Andre, and Sholmi hostage in his family's home in Nuseirat. No press vest can make him innocent of the crimes he has committed. Al Jazeera, what's this terrorist doing on your website? Pretty good question. As it turns out, the Palestine Chronicle is part of the People Media Project, an organization that enjoys tax-exempt status in the United States, but not for long if House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Jason Smith, Republican Missouri, has his way. So I know that, you know, this guy's about to get standing ovation, blah, 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 when he revokes their tax-exempt status. Why did they have tax-exempt status to begin with? And this is coming from a guy who believes taxation is theft. There are certain people that should not be tax-exempt. A terrorist sympathizing organization that is a known terrorist sympathizing organization probably shouldn't be one of them. And before anybody says anything, I made that comment live on the air and realized the slippery slope that I just opened because, yeah, anyway. In a perfect world where people who were trying to be patriotic weren't being deemed terrorists, I don't know. Anyway, in a letter to Biden's IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel, Smith demands that the People's Media Project have its tax-exempt status revoked. Terrorism and support of terrorism are not exempt purposes set forth in Section 501c3 of the Internal Revenue Code or the IRC, and the American people will not tolerate providing generous tax benefits to organizations that support terrorism. Smith's letter begins. I write today to refer the People Media Project, an organization that is known publicly as the Palestine Chronicle, for revocation of its tax-exempt status in the United States of America. And anyway, so explaining the precedent for such a revocation, Smith notes that the IRS previously revoked the tax-exempt status of organizations suspected of supporting terrorist organizations under the notion that providing material to support the terrorist organizations is illegal. Those revocations, he continues, came after public reporting suggested that the organization provided material support to a terrorist organization, and because the nonprofit did not know that it directed its funding exclusively for charitable purposes as required. Yeah, so don't usually read the comments, but Ralph B makes a great point in the town hall comments. I find it interesting that this group could become a 501c3, yet a Kiwanis club known for helping kids took 4 years to be eligible to get theirs. Anyway, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I mean, I understand the slippery slope that this would open or could potentially open, but I still think it'd be worthwhile. So you guys heard some of this live, and I kind of joked about some of what he was saying, but Nick Arama from Red State has a take on it already. Biden's massive incoherence and iconic new remarks on gun sense after after his son Hunter Biden's conviction. I don't know if you could have planned the coincidence and the irony better. Was he listening to my show when he wrote this? On the very day that Joe Biden's son Hunter was convicted on 3 gun charges, Joe Biden gave a speech to the Everytown for Gun Safety Action Fund conference about gun sense. So he was more than an hour and a half late making his remarks. Was there a question going on behind the scenes about what he should say in response? He finally showed up and was immediately incoherent. After he spoke for a couple minutes, he was immediately heckled by a protester yelling about genocide. They make a point that he's committing genocide. How out of it is Joe Biden? Very. He was garbling words, leaving out words, and mixing up words throughout his remarks, particularly at the beginning before he began reading off the teleprompter. It was perhaps the worst I've ever seen him, and I've seen a lot of him. The incoherence was wild. Perhaps he was particularly messed up because of the verdict that had just come down in his son's case. Everyone was waiting for him to address it, but he didn't. Instead, he stuck to making false gun arguments and saying things that weren't true, as well as mocking and attacking people who support gun rights. Here was just one example of how garbled he was. So this is from RNC, so let's see what their take on it was. And hang on, let me do this. Sorry, for you video folks, this video thing's kind of new for me, so that's not it either. Is it this one? It's got to be. All right, it's got to be that one. Well, I thought it was that one. Oh, that wasn't where I thought it was. Never mind. Now I remember where it is. We'll just go over here. Haha. All right.
Instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost gun kits that contain these that can commit crimes, they're working like hell to stop it.
But that's all, folks. Sorry, that's kind of what that reminded me of. I think I actually talked over that comment earlier because I heard it earlier. It was one of the ones I wanted to play, but I think I was busy reeling when he made that comment. So anyway. So yeah, kind of just a little bit incoherent. We're going to keep reading here. Instead of trying to stop our ban on ghost guns kits that contain these can commit crimes, they're working like hell to stop it, Biden said. That doesn't even make any sense. And there was a lot of that. The slurring was awful. Here he is saying, I've attended too many mass shootings. I've been gone to, what? Too many schools across America. Didn't I say this earlier? Listen, this is why I said it. Sounds like that's what he said. So here, hang on.
I've attended too many mass shootings. I've gone to too many schools across America.
I've attended too many mass shootings. His brain was glitching all over the place. Then he began confirming again his ignorance about guns by saying he wanted to create laws to restrict and ban assault weapons.
Who in God's name needs a magazine which can hold 200 shells?
Who in God's name needs a magazine that can hold 200 shells? I said this during my live reaction to it earlier. First of all, it's called a clip by most people. Magazines have subscriptions. Clips hold ammunition. Also, I don't know a single clip that holds shells. It holds rounds, not shells. Now, if you're really adventurous, you can get a drum that holds shotgun shells for your shotguns. You know, remember, this was the guy that said, you don't need a gun. You don't need a pistol. Buy a shotgun. Shoot off a warning shot. People took his advice and got arrested. He told a story about meeting with people who were mad at him on the issue, including a man whom he chastised for needing many bullets, telling him that if he needed 12 to 100 rounds, he was a lousy shot. We played this clip too, but we're going to play it again. Why not?
I remember when I was campaigning, when I was a senator, going through the wetlands of Delaware to meet all the people who were most upset with me, the fishermen and the hunters. And I came across a guy who was fishing, and he said, "You want to take my gun?" And I looked at him, I said, "Yeah, I don't want to take your gun. You're allowed to have a gun, but I want to take away your ability to use an assault weapon." And this is how the conversation went. He said, "What do you mean I need that gun?" I said, "Guess what? If you need 12 to 100 bullets in a gun, in a magazine, you're the lousiest shot I've ever heard of."
All right, so I'm going to say what I said at the opening of the program. Second Amendment is not about hunting. Second Amendment is about our ability to overthrow tyranny. Therefore, I should have access to every weapon the military has access to. I said what I said. Don't like it, turn off the show. Biden said the man told him he had a good point. Chances that happen? Not a snowball's chance in hell. Then he claimed Republicans wanted to abolish the AFT, confusing the AFT, a teachers union, and the ATF. So that was fun. Yeah, you guys heard that one, so I'm not going to play it again. Biden talked about teaching about the Second Amendment and then immediately said something that wasn't true about not being able to own a cannon. That's been debunked, but it's a lie that he just keeps telling, because you can and you could, in fact, own a cannon. As a matter of fact, most of the cannons used during the Revolutionary War were held in private ownership. You would think a guy that supposedly taught a class on the Second Amendment would know that. So Biden claims he was a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. He was paid $1 million, but didn't teach a single class, claims the Second Amendment prohibited people from owning cannons. However, that was also proven to not be true. Then he tried to mock Americans who supported the Second Amendment. No, I'm serious. The blood of liberty. Actually, you know what? I'm not. I can't. It's so boomhauerish, I can't even read it. So we're going to let him say it again.
By the way, if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle.
So there's that one. Then there's this one.
I was no longer the vice president. I became a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. Before that, I taught a constitutional law class, and so I taught the Second Amendment. There's never been a time that says you can own anything you want. Never. You couldn't own a cannon during the Civil War.
Yes, you could.
No, I'm serious. Think about it. How much have you heard this phrase? The blood of liberty. Wash it, though. Give me a break.
That's not how that phrase goes, by the way. That's not even how that phrase goes. And it annoys me how many people misquote that. So what he's referencing is a quote from Thomas Jefferson. And the quote says, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." That's the quote. Because liberty is expensive. Liberty sometimes takes you being willing to lay down your life for something that you believe in. This is what this country used to stand for. This is what we were trying to do all throughout the globe for a long time. Now, you can disagree or agree as to whether that was something that we should have been doing or not. Because there came a time when I started disagreeing with it once I understood what the cost was. Because it wasn't about bringing liberty everywhere. It wasn't about bringing freedom everywhere. It was about bending them to our will. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with a lot of what's going on in Ukraine right now. Because, and history will prove this out, if I'm alive to still see it, I will probably be dancing a jig, but history will prove this out. Ukraine will be one of the largest money laundering operations administered by a U.S. president in our country's history. I know it, you know it, anybody who's paying attention knows it. But it will be at least a decade or more until the truth comes out about it, depending on who wins this next election. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the end of this program, I'm going to do what I normally do on Tuesdays and remind you that there is an election coming up soon. I will never tell you who you should vote for. That is not my job. I will give you the information and news as it's happening throughout the day so that you have the ability to discuss it amongst yourselves, make informed decisions, and decide for yourself the direction that you feel this country needs to go. That being said, it is about time for you to make a decision because there is a decision that has to be made and that time is coming soon. I don't care who you vote for because I firmly believe that God appoints the leaders that we need when we need them. If Joe Biden remains president, then that tells me that God is about done using the United States of America. If Biden remains president, we're probably going to be done in less than 4 years. If Trump becomes president, we might get to see another 4. Because I still am really starting to believe that God might be done with America. I don't want that to be true, but I'm afraid it may be. But while I tell you, you need to decide which direction you feel this country needs to go next, and you need to make whatever decision best suits you to do that. I also have to tell you that unfortunately we've reached the point of the program where I have to tell you that this particular show is over.
What? Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no! Close
Closing time. Open all the doors and let you out into the world.
This isn't over until I say it's over!
Closing time.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? Game over, man. It's game over.
Closing time. Time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time. This room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come.
I love you, Oklahoma. What a great crowd. I love you.